Well, good evening, pipe pals and gals. Holy Smoking Pipe Padre here on the 12th of September. And I am smoking a beautiful ancient calabash. This was a gift to me from some people from one of my former parishes. And so I'm smoking tonight some Boswell's Majestic. And probably you can probably tell maybe by the by the title of the video, I'm smoking this in honor of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Some people have, I've noticed today, on the 12th of September, a few commentators have now kind of very subtly kind of drifted into, instead of saying Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth the Great. So I'm not going to argue that point. I remember after Pope John Paul II passed away, that many people who had a great fondness and affection for Pope John Paul II kind of did the same thing. They kind of slipped that great in there, and I don't have a problem with that. So tonight, as I come to you, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Queen Elizabeth's passing and make some kind of, if you will, pastoral notes. It's been really smoky. We've had a horrible fire, not near here. Well, near here, yes, but not, like in, here in this region. It's not in the basin up here in Tahoe. Thank the Lord. It's burning kind of. If there's any such thing as a good forest fire, this might be one of them. And the reason why I say that is because it's kind of burning in an area that's already been burnt a few years ago. And I'm sure that's going to probably slow down a lot of the fire. A couple of good things. We've had a lot of cooler temperatures that have come on. We might even get a thunderstorm later today. I don't know if we will or not. Hope so. And a lot of the forests that have been burnt, in a few years ago, in the past, there's not that much fuel in the forest floor, which really contributes significantly, especially with wind. We have been very blessed not to have a lot of raging winds. So no winds, cooler temperatures, less fuel in the forest floor, so it's not going to be a ravaging forest fire. That now it is kind of, if you look at the map, it kind of looks like it might actually be heading towards east to where I live, but that's like 30 miles away. And it'd have to do a lot of traveling pretty fast to get here. So we're reasonably confident that they'll have it contained, in the next day or two. Yeah. So, all those little personal details aside, hope you're doing well. Thank you for watching, by the way. I appreciate all of you who are so kind and, you keep watching over these videos. I still enjoy making them when I'm feeling good. Kind of shared with you last video that some of my chronic problems have kind of dissipated. I don't know why. I have a sneaking suspicion it just has to do with my diet, and so I've been doing mostly a carnivore diet. Not really trying to do that, but just eliminating all of the wheat products and the pastas and the cakes and the cookies and the pies and all that stuff that I used to eat on a regular daily basis almost to some extent. So I've been told, and I think I've proven it to myself that for me, maybe not for you, that at least things that contain wheat and pasta and all that stuff is just, it's very inflammatory. So if you do have arthritis or rheumatism or some bad arthritic old joints like I do, it just inflames those to such an extent that it cripples you up. So I've just been really blessed in the last almost 5-6 weeks now. I had my last bout of arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis symptoms, and for the most part they've dissipated, they're gone. And so the only thing I can say is I have chosen not to indulge, and we have a lot of opportunities to indulge in wheat and cookies and cake and pie and bread. And right down the road there, half a mile, is Tahoe House Bakery, and it would be like equivalent to an alcoholic going into a Bevmo. It's that kind of feeling, Let's just say a newly recovered alcoholic, If I went into a Bevmo today, I'd probably be looking for a lighter, maybe a cigar. They used to sell, I think those places that were selling, a lot of the alcoholic things like wine and beer and spirits, we're also getting into selling fine cigars. So, in fact, not too long ago, I went and bought a birthday present for a friend of mine, and they actually had cigars in there. So I was intrigued by the cigars. I mean, I got them a bottle of Jack, I guess it was. Was it Gentleman Jack? Is that what they call that? They love that Gentleman Jack stuff. So I try to make a gift of that to this friend of mine periodically, either on their birthday or Christmas or Groundhog Day or whatever it is. And but anyway, long story short, just not indulging in the good old-fashioned hybridized wheat seems to be the only thing I can think of. Look at that. I see some rain on the roof. You see some rain on the roof. Normally I hear it. So the reason why I'm on here again, I'm hearing a little bit of rain. All right, love it. Wish we had a whole lot of rain though. But we're getting some rain. Thank you, Lord. I can see it now. Yep, I can see it. It's out there. All right. Yep, it's raining. Yay, it's raining. A little bit. You can hear it now. Yeah. So anyway, the reason why I'm here is I want to pay tribute to the life of Queen Elizabeth II. Talk a little bit about her and the royal family and the future of the British monarchy, in my humble opinion. Okay, so just take it with that grain of salt, or a big grain of salt, medium grain of salt. It's my opinion, nothing more, nothing less. For some of you who watch my videos on a regular basis, won't be at all surprised probably what I'm going to say. Now remember, one of my earlier videos, this goes back maybe like 10 years ago, maybe 11, 12 years ago, I don't know. I had just got on the YouTube Pipe Community channel, and I think it was right after the birth of what's the little boy? It was little. I think it was a little. Was it little? Oh, I think it was Little Prince George. Yeah, that was the firstborn to William and Kate. And I was feeling good. I was kind of, just like, everybody likes celebrating things. I think for the most part. But anyway, I remember somebody really got extremely angry at that video. And boy, they tore me a new one. I don't even know if they're even on YouTube anymore. But they just, and I wasn't even trying to be provocative, I don't think. To be honest, there are some of my videos I know that I'm going to say things that are going to really torque people off. I don't necessarily do it intentionally, but I'm not unaware that I am probably going to torque some people off. Some of my opinions are very Catholic and Christian, conservative. The 3 C's, Catholic, Christian, conservative. Bad combination there. I know that it pisses a lot of people off sometimes, royally, pun intended. But this video was just meant to be fun. I think I flew little flags of the Union Jack and played God Save the Queen and all that good stuff. And man, I forgot the guy's name. He was actually, I think, a pretty good pipe presenter, I guess. I think I watched a couple of his videos, thought he was a nice guy and everything, and then all of a sudden he just nukes me one day. He goes, "How dare you? Rah, rah, rah." Just, "Oh, rah, rah, rah. I hope that kid rots in hell." I mean, I know he probably didn't say that, but he just thought it was a perpetuation of the, a lot of the things that you hear today by the woke community, the TikTok community, glorifying colonialism and the British Empire was evil, and on and on and on and on and on, and privilege and whiteness, and I mean it's all right up their alley. And this is just probably for a lot of these people. I've been watching a lot of the coverage of the Queen's passing and and Charles. I'm going to talk about Charles, don't you know? I might surprise some of you by some of the things I'm going to say about him, but I think I'm trying to be honest. So I'm surprised that I'm not seeing a lot more of the vitriol from the rabid socialists that are out there, clearly. Maybe they're just, and most of these people, well, no, I take that back. There have been, I saw a video just either this morning or yesterday about the socialists saying, they hope the Queen rots in hell and all that stuff, and, hope she died a horrible death, and, all those things that those types of people say. But anyway, so, but the Queen Elizabeth clearly has, ever since I was a little boy, I was born in 1956, 3 years after her coronation. Interestingly enough, you can find historical documentaries about the coronation. For a long, long time, they were forbidden. You weren't, only rare people could maybe had the films. And it wasn't until maybe a year or so ago that you saw snippets of the actual coronation. For some reason, even though it was televised, the historical recordings were kind of sequestered. I guess the royal family just didn't feel comfortable with that ceremony being in the public domain. But now it seems to be popping up everywhere. I just saw a colorized version of it today. Well, it was a documentary by Sir Laurence Olivier. And to be sure, there is a style that went with documentaries, say 60, 70 years ago. Like, it's very similar if you've ever watched Victory at Sea. That type of elevated language. There's a stylistic thing that people used to speak back, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, 100 years ago. more of a kind of a regal way of talking about things and people and situations and events. Now we don't seem to have that kind of elevated way of talking about things. It's all kind of just basic, mundane, banal type of speaking, kind of would have lost that I'm seeing raindrops. That way of eloquently speaking about things and people and events. It elevated something. Now, to be sure, some people say, well, that's just pretentious, but there's a sense of dignity, I think, that has been lost in our modern day interactions as we converse and talk about things. And it'd be nice to see a little bit of a return to that. Because sometimes you can look at a thing or a person or an event, and if you just look at it kind of quote unquote through the lens of reality, you're going to get a picture of something, but there's that subtle mystical picture that's behind it all that really gives it meaning. Not maybe everything in life, but a lot of things in life there's more to it than just what you can observe from the quote unquote biological reality of something. And we've lost that art of kind of elevating things that need to be elevated, Anyway, that's just my personal take on it. So Queen Elizabeth, for the most part, in and of her own person, was a decent, good person. I know some people, again, if you want to superimpose woke politics, she was the most evil, lizardly thing that ever lived, So I can't change people's opinion on that. But just looking at her life, she seemed to live a very exemplary life. Now, some people, especially during the whole Diana thing, said, "Oh, she was a cold fish. She doesn't have a heart. She's a zombie or whatever." I don't know what they said, but they were saying that she, doesn't seem to show any emotion or any kind of compassion. And that, again, there's an argument to be made for that. Now, clearly she has emotions. Of course she does. We all do. But there is a proper time and a place where to express those emotions. And the thing is that if you're like a person that's in charge of something, for example, if you're a surgeon, most of us, when we see somebody, bleeding, we recognize they're in pain, we have an emotional reaction, But it wouldn't do a surgeon any good to have emotions as they're operating. They're cutting into a human body, recognizing that there's maybe suffering and pain and disease and blood and gore and, misery, around this whole thing. It wouldn't help the surgeon to get all emotional because they have to be focused. Because they're really trying to do what? Combat the disease, find the cure, bring healing, right? And sometimes you got to be radical and do surgery to do that. And so a surgeon needs to be focused on, okay, I'm going to overlook the obvious pain and suffering. Now, the person probably would be, anesthetized for the most part, but they know that what they're going to do is going to cause some more suffering and pain for this person, so they don't like that. And there's loss of blood. It's gory. It's messy. Most of us have a visceral, emotional reaction to blood and human suffering, obviously. But a surgeon has to be focused so that they can do their job. So emotions for a surgeon probably wouldn't be a good thing. Same holds true for, say, like an airline pilot. They have to have a clear mind to think critically, especially when maybe there is something wrong with the plane, and they may have just seconds to figure out, press the wrong button there, or we didn't press the one we were supposed to, or there's a short circuit in this panel, and okay, it's that one there, let's fix it. They have to be able to think critically, and if they were emotional, they wouldn't be able to do that. And so I think it's also true to say that the sovereign, a political leader, although they have to acknowledge, pain and suffering of other people, they have to remain in a little bit more separated emotionally from that, so they can make clearer and better decisions for the good of all. And so I'm going to probably say a few things in the rest of this video that are probably going to upset some people. Nothing new. But when it goes to the topic of Diana, I'll keep it real short. Unfortunately, she was a very self-centered, solipsistic little... Okay? Diana was given a tribute of being a saint when she really wasn't. Now, I'm not saying she was a bad person, and certainly Charles and Camilla, we're going to get to those two in just a moment. But, she had her problems, and part of it was the fact that Charles was unfaithful from the very beginning of their relationship. So that bred unfaithfulness on her part. Whether she was unfaithful during the marriage, I don't know, but probably after she found out Charles had been going behind her back with Camilla. Yeah. So those are the facts, okay? And, so I have no sympathy for Diana. I don't wish her will. I don't hope she's rotting in hell and she, suffered, it was actually one of the things that I found out yesterday. I think I heard it before, is that those paparazzi guys, when her car crashed, she was still clearly alive, and instead of trying to help the woman, they were taking pictures of her in her final moments of agony and pain. No, she didn't deserve that either, okay? But she sure didn't deserve the accolades of somehow Saint Diana, A real saint that week died, and her name was Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Now, Mother Teresa, being a true saint, could care less what the world thought of her. She only cared what the Lord Jesus thought of her, and that's all that mattered to her. But I felt that Mother Teresa of Calcutta got the short shrift because, Diana, Princess Diana, I just, it's like, I don't have a problem with people giving accolades to people that deserve them, okay? And Diana just really didn't deserve, all she was a popular figure, people were, so emotional about Diana, and it was a shock. I will be honest. I was in London when it happened. No, I was on my way to Poland. That's right. I was on my way to Poland when it happened. And yeah, it was shocking because, she was young and still healthy and living her life. But she just was she was kind of like the poster child for the Me Too crowd. Oh, she was the antithesis of Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth had problems. Everybody has problems. But she didn't, complain about it. One of her mottos was, don't complain, don't explain, Keep calm and carry on, folks. But Diana was just the opposite. She was this little spoiled little girl. Yeah, she had, like I said, in some ways she was wrongly treated by Charles. That naughty rascal. But to look at Diana as some poor, underprivileged, victimized person, no. She was a grown woman. She should have known what she was getting into. Her older sister Sarah clearly knew what it would mean to marry into the royal family and said, "No, thank you. I'm not having any part of that." But Diana was swept off her feet, maybe by Charles, I don't know, or maybe she swept off the feet of obviously being possibly the next Queen of England. I mean, those are temptations, to be sure. I'm not saying I fault her for that. But if she'd followed Queen Elizabeth's example, you know, I could say, wow, that woman quietly suffered. She was wronged. And, you know, Charles did her bad, you know, which he did. So my other whole thought, this, you know, turning to Prince Charles. I'm going to still call him Prince Charles because essentially this man does not deserve to be King of England. He is, I think, he's damaged goods. Let's just put it that way. That might be the nicest way. But he's really not suitable for the monarchy. You know, they basically divested, was it Prince Andrew, from all of his royal titles and everything because of his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. But Charles, it basically is just as bad. Now, if Charles, after Diana died, and he and Camilla separated and went their separate ways, and he had lived maybe, say, a celibate life, a single life, and tried to repent, truly tried to repent from his dalliances and his infidelity and adultery with Camilla, had he kind of made it very clear that I'm not doing that anymore, I'm just trying to live a good life as a royal, trying to mend my ways, trying to clean up my act, I wouldn't maybe have a problem with him becoming king. But essentially what he did was he compounded his sinfulness, and this is where it is with a lot of people today. They don't want to admit that they're doing wrong. They want to say, well, my lifestyle's just fine. You know, God understands. I'm born this way. You know, I'm born a weirdo, you know. Charles was a weirdo. I'm sorry, Charles. If you're a big Charles fan, I don't know very many people that are. Royalty, or is it royal or revolting? Is he royal or revolting? I have to say the latter. But he basically compounded his whole affair thing by basically, I mean, and again, I don't know what's happened I know the Church of England has just basically gone completely woke. So you can be, you know, whatever lifestyle you want, straight, gay, bi, trans, whatever, it's okay now. Divorced and remarried, doesn't matter how many times. But basically, he's, instead of admitting and repenting of his wrong and saying he's sorry, he basically compounded it by now having his, well, I won't say the word, but it sounds like door, but it starts with a W. Having her now enshrined as the queen consort or the king consort or whatever. I just think it's absolutely despicable, distasteful, repugnant. And besides, he's 73 years old. He's got one foot in the grave already. And Charles is just weird. I mean, he hadn't even been, his mom hadn't even been dead at, I think, 24 hours, and he already says, well, we're going to sell Balmoral and get rid of that. Make it into a museum. Wow. Just wow. So I just think he's kind of imbecilic in some ways. I don't know if was doing a lot of magical mushrooms when he was younger. I don't know. But there's a few screws loose in that guy's head. He's just not all there. And I just think that it's a calamity. He's a calamity. He's also a clown, but unfortunately, He's just not suitable. He's not fit for reigning. And I just kind of think that if he was truly a good man and a humble man, a person that kind of realized, and again, he does not have the popular support of the people. I mean, right now they'll give him sympathy. They'll give him the sympathy vote. A few of them probably will. But I think most of the people, especially the younger people, they just look upon him as an idiot. You know, the village idiots, now the reigning monarch. You know, not a good fit. I'm afraid that if he does ascend the throne, and he's going to because he's an arrogant SOB, he's an idiot as well, but he's an arrogant idiot, I'm afraid that it'll probably be the beginning of the end of the royal family monarchy. I really believe that. Charles does not have the character that his mother had. He doesn't even have the character that Prince Philip had. Prince Philip probably wasn't the best man in the world either, but he kind of realized that there were certain concessions that he had to make and just keep his mouth shut. But Charles, I think if he really was a good, decent, humble man, would have realized, you know what, one, I'm way too old. I don't really enjoy the support of the majority of the British people. Also, I really haven't cleaned up my act. I'm trying to put my own mistress and make her queen consort. That's wrong, folks. That's just wrong, okay? That's all you're doing is compounding your sin. You know, you're justifying it, and I think it's just disgraceful. But and I'm hoping, you know, some of these people that are in authority today, whether in the world or in the church even, they're just got too much hubris. They have too much pride. Some people should know that they aren't ready, or they aren't fit, or they're you know, and quietly and humbly say, I think I need to pass this on to my son William. You know, I don't know William at all, but he does seem to be a little more stable than his younger brother Harry. And I think he was closer to his grandmother, and I think he probably inculcated a lot of her qualities, which probably would make him a pretty suitable young man to assume the throne. Even though he's like in his 30s, early 30s, I think. Queen Elizabeth, of course, at her coronation was 25, so even though he's quote unquote young and inexperienced, I think that he would be much more suited. Both he and Kate would be much more suitable to ascend the throne than grisly old goofy Prince Charles and that goofy puppet crazy lady Camilla. I think they call her the hyena. I've heard somebody refer to her as the hyena. I guess it's because of her bad teeth. She's not a very attractive woman. She wasn't really then, and certainly isn't now. There's a TV show I watched a number of years ago about Rome, and one of the last episodes, it was pretty grisly. It actually was a very stomach churning kind of thing, but I guess it was Cleopatra and Saint Anthony, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Let's just say that the end of those two wasn't very pretty. It was very gross and very ghoulish, and just But basically, what they did was, because of their arrogance, their hubris, the final scene is they basically, I guess they killed them, and then they propped their corpses up in a chariot, and here, go ahead and have your kingly procession. And they shoot these, bobbing corpses. It's just gross. It's just hideous. One of the most hideous things I ever saw on a TV show. It just made your stomach turn. You just felt this empty sickness, like, ugh. That's what happens when you're a little too arrogant. You're gonna, so be careful what you wish for. You just might get it, but not the way you think you're gonna get it. So that's why I'd like to see Charles do the right thing and the humble thing, and realize, hey, your time's come and gone, buddy. Sorry, but you don't really, again, think about it. You're going to, plus it's going to be, I don't know what his coronation's going to be like. It might be so, devoid of any kind of real ceremony, which he doesn't deserve the ceremony or the respect, the regal respect. But if he goes through that, and if it's even half of opulent as his mother's, they're going to, cost the British people a lot of money for a guy who could be dead tomorrow, or the next day. He's not a healthy man. There's somebody's pointing out, Dr. Sean Baker, he's got this weird disease. His hands are all puffed up, and apparently that's a serious condition. So the guy's not long for this world. I mean, none of us are. We're temporary. We're just very temporary, all of us. But Charles just clearly, I just think a better man would realize, a wise person, a wise man knows when it's time for them to hang it up. Or, if you go through with this, it's not worth it, for you to do this. And I think it would just be the best thing if old Chucky boy kind of just said, you know what, maybe it's better, far better that I kind of back off and let my son William, take the throne, and I support him. That would be, that would be one of the most awesome statements, I think. I think I could actually even begin to respect Charles if he did something like that. It would show me that he really is aware that the best thing to do, the right thing to do, is to abdicate like Edward did, because Edward was kind of forced into it. Not that he was a saint, because he wasn't. Ooh, a little bit of thunder in the background. I like that. And it's raining. It's raining. Thank you, Lord. We've been waiting for this, so this is going to clean out the air a bit and help the firefighters. So God bless the rain. Yes. But anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the passing of Queen Elizabeth. I was watching that documentary about her coronation, and the grim reality is that 95% of those people are resting in their graves now. They're all gone. Maybe there might be a handful of those people left, but everybody in those photographs and videos, they're all gone. Just like one day we'll all be all gone. Now, those of us watching our YouTube videos, that guy's he's gone. He died years ago. I don't think many people are going to be watching my videos from the past, or the future, I should say. But hey, there you go. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in this crazy world? Smoking a pipe could become a capital offense. I hope not. We got so much political woke correctness out there that, it's just like walking through, when you walk through a city street and there's just trash everywhere, and you've got to step over it. That's just kind of the way it feels culturally and politically in our world today. There's just so much political trash, in our culture, and you just have to try to walk around it best you can. So anyway, well, all I can say is God bless Queen Elizabeth II, and may Charles do the right thing. I don't think he's going to do it, but what a powerful statement that would be. And I think people would respect him for doing that, and I think people would recognize, he's doing the right thing. But instead, he's going to do the selfish thing and just, look at me, I'm now King Charles, King Chuckles. Yeah, old Chucky boy, ears and all. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, I just wanted to get on here and give you my thoughts on the passing of Queen Elizabeth, and God bless her for her many, many years of service. And even though, she wasn't perfect, We all know that she wasn't perfect, and of course she was, her family, unfortunately, trying to, separate her from the royal family. It's kind of a real tricky thing to do because, they're so, intertwined. But for the most part, for 70 some odd years, she was a good monarch. And that's a tough act to follow, let me tell you. She'd known, how many, 14, 15 American presidents, scads of prime ministers. In fact, she just received Liz Truss on Tuesday, and I think she died on Thursday, right? Or Friday, but there she was, still doing her duty, not complaining, not saying, oh, pour me another drink kind of a thing. Just a good, faithful little lady. I think one of the things that I loved about somebody had said, and I think I'll close with this, is that she had told, she actually was a very a devout Christian lady. Now, I think in later years she kind of unfortunately got deceived by the Anglican Church when they started getting all woke and doing the alphabet soup people thing and gender equality crap with the women priests and women bishops. What a joke that is. But she at one time was very much enamored or taken with Billy Graham, not in a romantic sexual way, guys. Let's not go there. But she really was inspired by the Billy Graham Crusades. And Billy Graham, I think, even came and preached at, I don't know if it was at Balmoral, the chapel in Balmoral a couple of times or whatever, but she really she had a lot of respect for Billy Graham. And apparently she was a believing Christian woman, not just one in name only, but actually did believe. And there was a statement that she had told some people from time to time that she hoped that during her lifetime Christ would return. She would live to see that. Now, to the chagrin and fear of some of her more carnal Christian friends. Why? We don't want him to come back now. We're having too much fun, right? And but they said, but why would you want that even? Why don't you just when it's your time to go, you go, and then hopefully you go meet him, kind of thing. Go meet him on your own time. No, don't bring us into it. But she said, no, I want to be able to give back the crown that I received on my coronation day, because he's the true sovereign. He's the true King of Kings and Queens. Not Queens, New York. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and maybe in your own private moments you might think about having a quiet pipe and lighting up a little prayer for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Requiescat in pace.